welcome back to the channel, everyone. It's for the franchise guy coming at you again with the final episode of our MLB The Show 20 Philadelphia Phillies franchise mode, episode 116 on the series. And yeah, the final episode has finally arisen. It's here. It's finally here. It's coming. It's the final episode, guys. You know, we're flying through these retirees, and right now we're just gonna see who retires, who makes the Hall of Fame, where everyone ends up when it's all said and done. One thing I kind of wish I did when I was recording this was I didn't look at player stats, like Phillies winning the World Series here in 2026. Like, if a player retired for the Phillies, I didn't look at their stats. I didn't see how many home runs they ended with. If they didn't make the Hall of Fame, they didn't make the Hall of Fame. It was just
for
like
them, and they
that.
will look to repeat as champions next year.
Going through all the yearly awards, we saw Austin Mills wins his second career MVP award. Like to see that right there for hopefully a future Hall of Famer. So Zach Collins sneaks out that Silver Slugger, uprooting none other than the best catcher in baseball. And take a look at the American League right here. Not bad at all for these fellows. It's just weird seeing all of the former National League players here in the American League. So, like Pete Alonso. I mean, Pete Alonso. You had Chris Bryant. It just seemed really weird. But like I said, we're just gonna fly through these. We're at 1.5 speed going through this. This was initially like a 30-minute long video, and I thought that would be way too long to sit here and go through that. That's Felipe Almonte. Felipe Almonte, the man the Phillies traded Cliff Lee for. Felipe Almonte, that bust of a prospect. Oh boy, I'm glad he finally retired. Didn't realize he was even still in the game. Man, I wish we knew he was there so we could sign him, just so we could put him in the minor leagues and just create like a legendary former Phillies team. Get like Cody Ashley, Darren Ruff, I guess Cesar, Freddie Galvis. Get all of those guys on one team. See, I mean, Don Brown was in, I think, last year's game. I think they had Don Brown in the free agency. So I think that'd be absolutely insane right there to bring all of those guys in, just enough to make the Hall of Fame right there. A weird stat line here, because I definitely think that there have been players who have been better than him that didn't make the Hall of Fame. I think Zach Greinke comes to mind, who had over 200 career wins, over 3,000 career strikeouts. Did not make the Hall of Fame, but Justin Upton, who didn't hit 500 home runs, didn't get 3,000 hits, makes the Hall of Fame with that stat line. So Harper wins his yet another MVP. We're not sure if that's his third or his fourth of his career. I think it's the third. JT, comes back, wins Silver Slugger right there. He's a man on a mission. Pete Alonso picks up an MVP award right there. Not bad for Big Meat Pete. You like to see that. Adley Rutschman locking out as the best, probably young catcher in baseball. You like to see that. Pete Alonso showing you why he's pretty good. And I was looking at some stats and just some things that people are saying about Adley Rutschman and the Orioles, is that they wish he gets traded just so he can get called up and have a long career and not get called up at age 26 and his career be more or less ruined due to the ineptness of the Orioles. So maybe at the trade we look to try and make in MLB The Show 21 with our Mariners franchise. Who knows? I was doing some just demos, not just some like quick run-throughs of that series just to see how it works. The rosters look like they haven't been updated since like January. The last time I looked, Jackie Bradley Jr. signed with the Brewers like I think almost 2 months ago at this point, and he's still a free agent. Unless I'm wrong and that didn't go through, I'm pretty sure he signed with the Brewers. But the fact that he's still a free agent shows that there's just been no roster update whatsoever. And looking to go with the Ryan rosters and wait for Ryan rosters to come out was, in fact, the right move to make.
Going
with them, I think that was the best move to make for the channel. And I think people who didn't wait for these rosters to come out, sure, you're not gonna have week 1 and day 1 content, or I guess day 2 content. I guess day 1 content if you played at midnight, recorded, and uploaded it that day. I guess you could do it that way. But people who did stuff like that, I think, are missing out a lot on the authenticity of a franchise. I mean, if you're going into it and you're not caring about, playing with the top prospects, that's fine. Good for you and your franchise. If you want to do your own thing and not worry about playing with all the young players, I can't get on you about that. But I definitely think looking for a series to have I feel like a authenticity, like a realism to it, you'd want to sit there and have the most amount of young prospects as possible. Now I think San Diego is using like 50-50 full minors rosters helps a little bit, but I think not having full minors rosters entirely hurts a lot. But Mike Trout retires here, 18 seasons, 2,500 hits, 540 home runs, 1,500 RBIs, 305 career average. Nationals win their second ever World Series right there. I mean, good for Washington. I mean, maybe they have some real fans now that they've officially won 2 World Series rings. I mean, I highly doubt it. In my opinion, the epitome to me of Washington Nationals fans is when they won the World Series and there's the reporter on the street and she stops this young man. She goes, "How long have you been a Nationals fan for?" Because, he's celebrating the street. And he goes, "Since tonight." That, to me, is the epitome of Washington Nationals fans, is that Nationals fans are more fake fans than anything else. Plain and simple, they are just more fake fans than ever. Every fan base has fake fans. Yeah, you have people that ride, who's hot. People that ride for football. Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, those players. And then baseball, it's like, okay, who's winning the World Series? Like, Kansas City. How many Kansas City Chiefs fans popped up in the past couple of years? An absolute ton of them. Like, there's just an absolute insane amount of people who are bandwagon fans. Golden State is another huge example of that right there. No one knew about Golden State until Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Draymond popped off in the league and started doing what they were doing. I like to see right there that Freddie Freeman in his career has 66 career stolen bases. That's a great number for Freddie Freeman, in my opinion. Going to be honest with you, a possible huge try and free agent target if we can get him in free agency. I was just thinking of players who are going to be free agents and that could possibly be free agents, like Anthony Rizzo, Freddie Freeman, those players. I think that'd be absolutely insane to try and bring in a Freddie Freeman-like player to Seattle, because Seattle does. When is the last time Seattle made a giant move like that? Robinson Cano. And how did that turn out? A PED suspension, a trade for Edwin Diaz to get him out of town. All of these Phillies are retiring right there. So many Phillies, but we don't care. Tommy Joseph retires. Oh no, the future catcher, the future franchise catcher, trade for Hunter Pence. Was a first baseman for like a year. I feel like he was a first baseman for the Phillies for like a bunch of years. But I was looking back, it was only like the Phillies first baseman for like 2 years. Like, only one of them, I think, was as a full-time first baseman. And then Rhys Hoskins came in and kind of took over as the left fielder. And then they brought in Carlos Santana for a year and then made Rhys Hoskins the first baseman. The Phillies' mismanagement of Rhys Hoskins is really weird, since he got called up late in his career, like 25. Phillies don't call up players young. Jose Altuve and Xander Bogaerts both make the Hall of Fame. Altuve, 2,800 hits. Not bad. A 306 career average. Bogarts a 294 career average. 400 plus home runs. I like to see that right there from those two, great players. Rays pick up a World Series victory finally here in 2031. They have won a World Series earlier in the franchise. I just forget. I think they won. Oh, they won the year before we won, I think, or maybe they lost. Maybe I don't know. Rays defeating the Reds in the 2031 World Series right here, adding to that Rays legacy of building a team from the ground up. Brian Haynes now a member of the Padres. It's making the Padres the absolute dream team. It's making them OP is everything. Absolutely just gross. And I want you to know, speaking of players to trade for, Brian Haynes was definitely on that list of players to try and trade for. I think, well, that's super unrealistic. Why would the Pirates ever trade Brian Haynes? Well, simple. A very, very simple fact, actually, is the fact that the Pirates are a dumpster fire organization. I think they look to draft players to trade them for C potential prospects, like B potential prospects at best. Players who were once considered A potential prospects who have passed their prime, never reached their prime, never had a prime. That's the Pirates right there. And I definitely want to go into having more realistic trades going into this series for the show 21 that we will start next week. So I've kind of been running down players who I want to trade from the team, players who are on one-year deals, players that don't kind of fit the current situation of the Mariners. I know Kyle Seager's on a one-year deal, but I kind of want to have that one player that gets to retire as a Mariner. They think, the Mariners, that's, that player's team. That man played his entire career with that team. I think it's gonna be Kyle Seager, just because of his, time with the Mariners. He's been there for, I think he's the longest tenured Mariner currently on the team. And if anyone was gonna be a career Mariner, you got Mitch Haniger, who's a former Diamondback, so he's automatically excluded. Kyle Lewis, who's 25. I mean, he was 23, made his debut 3 years ago, or two, I guess now. 3 years ago, I guess he made his debut, because this is his third year technically in the league. First full year. He made his debut pre-COVID season, and then he won AL Rookie of the Year last year, and then this year's going to be his first 162-game season. So I think that's absolutely crazy right there, that's kind of the road he's been on. But definitely I'm thinking that he is a player who, I don't know if I'm entirely sold on him, honestly. I mean, I'm kind of using this video to talk about the future series of this channel. I mean, we're going to go more in depth on it in I guess, episode 1 of our Mariners franchise, which I think the upload schedule is going to be every Monday and Saturday. I think it's Monday and Saturday at noon. So, I mean, definitely check those videos out as we go forth with this series. Ketel Marte makes the Hall of Fame. Again, just another weird Hall of Fame entry right there. Less than 3,000 hits, less than 500 career home runs. I mean, the amount of players who get snubbed from the Hall of Fame in this game is insane. I highly doubt players like Rhys Hoskins will make the Hall of Fame. He had, I think, over 300, almost 400 career home runs when we stopped playing, and the likelihood of him getting 400 home runs or 500 home runs is pretty high. But I don't know, the sim all might not actually help him get those 500 homers. And if he does get 500 and doesn't make the Hall of Fame, it's kind of weird. Bryce Harper, finally those retire right there. So we saw Hoskins, we saw Meadows retire. Those guys unfortunately did not make the Hall of Fame. Bryce Harper actually signed a 2-year deal at the end of that 13-year contract. So he spent 15 years in the city of brotherly love. Loved it so much. Maybe spent 18 years. I can't remember if it was a 2-year or 3-year deal we signed him to. But we had moved him to first base. Kind of gave him a couple extra years left in the show, in the series. So moving him to first base kind of prolonged his career just a couple more years. Like the Mickey Mantle effect, when he kind of moved to the first base from center field and didn't really finish his career the way he wanted to. But there you go, 748 career home runs, 3,100 career hits, 1,900 career RBIs, 244 starts, and a 277 career average for the former first overall draft pick. Buntex on YouTube, though. Peace out.